Corey, you and I are checking out a game. I had the pleasure of talking to Rob over at Newcore Games about this. Is the Devil Within Satgat, and I was looking forward to this one, dude. I couldn't wait to get my hands on this one after checking out the trailer. Speaking of Rob, I'm like, yo, I am pumped. Get me in. I want to play as Kim. Let me slice and dice up some of these monsters, these creatures, and things like that, and see how it feels, right? That's really what it comes down to. How does it feel? Corey, before I dive in too deep, my friend, why don't you take it away? How does it feel for you?
Well, you know what? We've played games in this kind of genre before, this kind of action platformer, but they all have their own twists, and this one is no different. We've got Kim Rip as our protagonist here, and the idea is essentially he's kind of taken the world on his shoulders, and it's time to purge the world of all its evil. This is a story kind of, as old as time, but it is redone in a good way here. I like the kind of unique storyline they kind of enter you in right off the get-go. You kind of get thrown into a bit of a tutorial to learn some of the basic controls. They do suggest to play it on controller. You can play it on mouse and key. I didn't even attempt it. If you tell me to play it on controller, I'm gonna play it on controller. And I think that was just, that was the move, because it just works a lot better with the way they've got the combat mechanics out here. And I think that's the big standout here, Drew, is how good the combat looks and feels. And that was the first thing that got me, is that I thought this combat and kind of the way you slice and dice your sword and the abilities you do collect along the way just look really, really nice. They present it in a way graphically that just really works well with this game.
Absolutely, he's got a smooth art style, right? And I was like, yo, that's, again, Corey, you and me, dude, art style. I was like, yo, I'm in. Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, this looks cool, so let me find out more about it. And then when you get into combat, and not only the combat, but the skill tree that goes with it, dude, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spec out one of my directions here, and I went all dodge, man. Let me dodge and move myself around. Wait, not something I normally do, but I'm like, I need to get around here without getting tagged the whole time, right? So I'm gonna try and beef that up. And with some of that comes like other combos too, right? That kind of plays into your playstyle. And then it highlights this big flashy move if you dodge or parry at the right time. And it's all about timing. It really comes down to the timing and how that feels. That felt great. Dude, would you time that with the right parry or the right maneuver, and all of a sudden you're able to pull off that cool flashy mechanic behind it? It is sick. It feels great. Yeah. And I thought that is the highlight right now for me. Story, pretty cool. Couple twists, turns right off the hop. I'm like, all right, I see how you're kind of getting me into this and that stuff. So that's pretty sick to see. But at the end of it all, how's it feel? And it really has felt pretty good. It's a solid game. I'm having a good time with it. And a lot of things kind of come down to, how much longer can we get into this without going stale? Because even in that first level we're playing in, enemy AIs are kind of repetitive, right? I'm already seeing the repeat of some of the use of the, some of the creatures that they have within here. Like, this is the first level. So hopefully things will spice up as we get past throughout the demo and get into the full game, right? And hopefully kind of captivate us a little bit more. What they've already designed, I'm already in, but I want to see what is next to come. Corey, as good as the game feels, there's just something slightly off a little bit, right? With the movement of Kim himself, it feels good, but when you're walking through the hub world, dude, he like slides. His footstep doesn't feel quite grounded when it hits the ground, right? So all of a sudden his foot goes down, but it keeps moving, and so it doesn't plant. And I was kind of wanting a little bit more weight, I think, within the character himself. But that's my biggest complaint, which isn't really a bad thing, man.
No, not at all. And I mean, we kind of looked at this game's being released in Q4 of this year, so they've got a couple months here to at least work out some of these kinks, and I think that's probably what this stage is for. We're getting a demo. The community's going to let the devs know what's going on with this game, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be looked at. So we've got the time here, and I think for me, the big thing comes down to what are they going to charge for this? I think this is a game that fits really well into this genre, but I don't see it being more than maybe a $35, $40 game at this point. But who knows? They could surprise me. There could be a lot more content to come. We've only got a small little taste here. So, Drew, if we've got to recommend or not recommend, what are you going to give this one, man?
Dude, I gotta recommend this. I've had a blast playing, right? When you get to that boss fight, the dude is tough, and I think that's how it's gonna play out throughout the game. I do like going back to certain areas I haven't uncovered yet, and then traversing forward, finding my way, finding my path forward to get to that end boss, and kind of give it a go. As struggling as I had a hard time getting there, you know, even fighting him, the boss himself, dude, that guy's tough. So I'm hoping for the first boss, maybe they'll lighten him up a little bit for me. But either way, dude, I gotta recommend it. I've been having a great time. What about you?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. This is a full-on recommend for me. I think there's enough here, especially this early on in the development of the game. We've got a few months, like I said, left till this one gets released. So I think there's some things that are going to get worked out, and this one's going to be pretty solid upon release. So again, I'm giving this one a recommend.